Fried as peas in a pod.
All right, good evening. It is Tuesday, August 30th. This is the Goffstown Budget Committee meeting, and I'd like to call for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I don't care.
Kelly, will you start us off?
Sure. I didn't get,
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't say a word.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll be kicking it off with a roll call. We will start over here with you, Lauren, and we'll just work our way around the table.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lauren Dukas.
Richard Manzo.
Richard Pleasure.
Ellen Vermakowitz, School Board, place of charity, can be given to me.
Bill Cordis.
Melanie Renfrew Hebert.
Jeff O'Brien.
Kelly Boyer, Select Board Representative.
Evelyn Redmond.
Stacy Belmore.
Fred Platt.
All right, and we have two excused absences tonight for Joe Alexander and Greg Flegel. Not in attendance is Samantha Kearns. All right, well, welcome everybody. Summer is over. Our kids got off to school today, so I'm sure it's been a little bit of a crazy day for some of us. So we're going to kind of start down the meeting agenda here. We have the approval of minutes. We have 4 different attendances to go over of minutes. These are from our meeting prior to the summer break, as well as the various tours that we conducted in the beginning part of the summer. So you have the minutes for April 19th, 2022. Can everyone have a chance to review those? Okay, I'm
Move
good.
to approve.
We have a motion to approve by
I move, I have an amendment.
Evelyn has an
I
amendment.
need to find it again, sorry, give me a minute.
I'll second the motion so that there's a motion to amend.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the minutes.
I'm going to
then
second
she
it,
has-
and then she can amend it.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's right.
Oops.
No pressure at all.
Yeah.
No, it was something that I had said and there was a mistake. So I'm just looking for where I spoke. I apologize to everyone. I read them online.
Do you want to move on to the other specials?
Yeah, table the approval of the 419 minutes while Evelyn looks for the amended things you would like to add.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Oh, did you find it?
No.
Oh. All right, well, we'll move on to May 24th, which I believe was a tour. These were the town facility tours, including DPW, Grasmere Down Hall, Fire Station 17. I'll take take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Lauren. I have a second.
I'll second.
Second from Stacy. Any discussions or amendments? All right, I'll take a vote for approval of the minutes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And we have abstentions from, may
Evelyn?
abstain from Richard, Evelyn,
Ellen?
and Jared, and Evelyn. All right. All right, the meeting minutes of May 24th are approved. Stacy, okay. All right, moving on, the next set of minutes is June 7th, 2022. Again, this is also a town tour that included Barnard Park, the Goffstown Police Station, and Fire Station 19. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Stacy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, that was a quick draw there. I'll take it from Richard. All right. Any discussions or amendments to the minutes? All right, no discussion or amendments. I'll move to take a vote on the approval of the minutes of June 7th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And abstentions from Richard and Evelyn Redmond.
And Ellen?
Also abstain, I was unfortunate.
There for a portion? Okay. All right, motion carries with 3 abstentions.
Did you get mine?
Yes.
Mine is absent.
All right, the next set of minutes on the agenda is June 21st, 2022. This was also another town tour, which included Fire Station 18, the Goffstown Town Hall, and the Goffstown Public Library. I will take a motion to approve the
I
minutes.
move to approve the minutes.
Evelyn, motions to approve the minutes. Second. Second from Frank. Any discussion or amendments to these minutes? All right. No, I'll take a vote to approve the minutes here. From the abstention list, those who didn't make it, I have for Stacy, Richard, Fred Plett, and Kelly Boyer. And, yep, sorry, it doesn't have you written down here as abstain. No problem. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries to approve the minutes of June 21st, 2022. All approved with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 abstentions.
Mr. Chair, I found that amendment, please.
All right, bringing back to the table the minutes of April 19th. We have an amendment to add. Evelyn, please.
It's on page 9,
Page 9.
second line. At the end of the session, the next word should be was something more relevant. And that's it.
Something more. All right, so the line would then read at the end of the session as something was relevant.
Was something more relevant.
Oh, so at the beginning, was something more relevant.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other amendments that need to be discussed? All right. I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended by Evelyn.
So moved.
There's a motion by Fred, second by Evelyn.
Oh, it was already on the table. All right. All right, so we have potential abstentions from Fred and school board representative. So we'll take a motion to approve the minutes of April 19th as amended. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. And abstaining, we have Fred and the school board. All right. Thank you for that. All right, next item up on our agenda here is really discussing some of the old business, things that we were discussing prior to the summer break. First item up here, I'm talking about the New Hampshire Municipal Association Budget and Finance Workshop. That was something we talked about before. Registration is now open. We have those details available now. As you can see from the agenda, it is Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. It is an all-day affair from 9 a.m. to 4:45. It's right here, luckily locally, here at the Dairy Field in Manchester. Cost is $100 in person, and it looks like it's also available virtually as well. And these costs are payable from the town. Do we have anyone who is interested in taking this class? And if so, we have the forms as well as the information, and we reach out to Catherine. Especially helpful for new budget members, if you can make the day work. Any questions on the NHMA budget workshop? Anything else? Kelly, do you have anything to add to that?
No, it's good. Good information if you've never been before. It's helpful.
All right, I'm sure we're all looking forward to Scott's version. Scott and Danielle's version of this. All right, thank you. All right, so moving on, unless there's no other questions for any old business, bringing up some new business. It's the first time we've been together in quite a few months. I'm sure everyone's had a great summer. One of the items I wanted to kind of bring back is I know some of us have been working hard over that summer. So if Lauren, you can kind of just give us a quick little review what's been going on in the CIP committee. I know obviously things aren't finalized just yet, but if you have anything to report from that committee that we should be aware of or anything updated.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for allowing me to sit on that committee. It was, like this one, really well-run committee and very informative to see, okay, how we're stacking things and planning things. So thank you very much. I believe our CIP meeting to the planning board is September 8th or 9th. 8th, thank you. So it's not finalized. I mean, we voted on the recommendation of the matrix. All the departments, like here, it's a very thorough presentation, so there wasn't a whole lot of movement that we voted on to move things around. I think the biggest things coming up that we'll be seeing on the budget committee are the library bond, or the warrant article for the proposed library bond for their expansion. That's been in the works since I think 2009 was when they had started talking about it, and that'll be a $6.5 million bond that they're going to look to put on the warrant article again if the planning board approves the matrix. $500,000 for the Grasmere Town Hall elevator is proposed to come up this year. I know there's a lot of roof replacements that the school was talking about putting together or moving. It was a lot of sort of staggered projects. And in the years coming, there's a Barnard Pool to consider for next year, which would be another $4 million project. So it actually looks like things are a little low for 23 and 24 as far as the CIP asks, because they're looking at potentially having those two big bonds for projects coming up. So it might look like there's a dip, but it's because there's going to be bigger projects that require a separate warrant article.
Yeah, that was one of the great things I think from that CIP matrix, kind of looking as that ebbs and flow of here are all the capital requests as they stack up kind of year to year. So yeah, that's obviously great information. All right. Thank you very much. Anything else to add? Do we have some questions? Comments?
If I may, Lauren, I wanted to also add, Ellen and I were just at a meeting about this project. One of the capital projects on the school district side is an artificial surface field with lights at the back of Goffstown High School, and it doesn't have any tax impact, maybe that's why it didn't get recognized, but we're using a combination of grant money. We received a $500,000 private donation from an individual in town, as well as impact fees for this project, so it's kind of one of these confluence of perfect storm types of things. But we did get some state approvals over the summertime, and we have a committee that's kind of working on that. So that's a project that is going to hopefully start in the spring. It takes about 3 months to go forward with it, but it's something that it's not often that you get $500,000 from a citizen to do some good. So,
Wow, that's exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, that was not finalized when we had the school presentation. You weren't there, so that's great, thank you. We
Yeah,
had
so I just
asked
wanted to kind of let
like,
you know that it's moving ahead.
Excellent. So if that's going in the spring,
It would
That would
be
be
the
ready
spring of
for-
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
And then that would be ready for
The fall.
school in the fall.
Right. And there'll be more information that will be forthcoming, because the construction's going to occur during the spring season. So
Right.
there'll be it's lacrosse, but we're going to have to come up with alternative plans and where we're going to have that, because they'll be doing earthwork
Right.
during that time.
All right, so there's a little disruption. Daisy?
Did the donor put stipulations on what teams could use that field?
No, it is not. The donor who wishes to remain anonymous does not wish for any naming, nothing. It's just he wants to do good.
Wow.
And we'll keep his name anonymous as long as we can.
Are there any conditions with that donation?
There are no conditions. So we're working out the logistics with an attorney, but I thought that there would be naming rights, and they don't want any of that. So.
Kelly, you had a hand up?
Yes, thanks. Lauren, you mentioned the elevator at Grassmere Town Hall. Is that $500,000 on top of the money that we already have in the, Danielle's shaking her head already. So we have,
where you're
we have an
going.
account, we've
Yeah,
been
we have the
appropriating money,
CRF,
so I
right.
just wanted to know what the difference is, or it's the full project coming up, but how much do we have in that account, do you know?
I thought it was 500, and I'm sorry, I didn't know I was gonna have to
It's
do
a CRF
like.
though.
No.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
looking at the funding source on the spreadsheet.
There's a capital reserve
The
fund
capital
for it.
reserve fund already is funded. It's proposing to use the monies that
Okay,
have been
that's
set
what
aside.
I thought.
Okay,
I just
okay.
wanted to make sure it wasn't another 500,000 on top
No.
of the money we've already, okay, thank you.
Yep.
How much is left in that account?
It's I haven't checked the balance in recent, like this month, but it's the 500,000 plus interest that's accrued. So it's essentially drawing down the entirety of the balance to do the project.
No, that's fine. I just had a panic attack when you said that. I thought you meant on top of.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
So
Thank
if
you
this
for
is going to be the drawdown of that CRF, is the CRF going to kind of go away? Is this like the last phase of the Tasmania Ground Hall renovations?
That's it's to be determined. So we have to actually get into the project components as far as getting the construction quotes and timelines figured out, so that we can get an accurate dollar figure, because I'm sure it's not going to be $500,000 to the penny. But once we've got that lined up, the year following the drawdown, we would put a separate warrant article on the ballot in order to close that if that's the wish of the governing body. It can still be used for Grassmere Town Hall, so they may choose not to close it if there is a small balance there and additional projects that need to be done. They may choose to keep that, but that would be for kind of the year following completion.
Thank you.
Ellen, you had a question?
Yeah, just real quick on the field. At our recent meeting, Scott, am I correct? I think I heard us say that the maintenance of the new turf field, as far as budget committee goes,
Yeah.
that'll be on our budgets. It's not gonna be more than what we currently
Yeah, it's
spend
kinda, you know, a lot
on
of-
the field.
That's correct, Al. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, the turf field, you don't have to water it, you don't have to do fertilizer, but you do have to do other things to that field, so at this point, we think it's kind of neutral in terms of, no, you don't have to use water, but you have to replenish these crumbles, black crumbly material. You have to sanitize it once a year. You have to rake it and do some different things. So I'm not the type of person that's, oh, we're gonna save 20,000 in maintenance. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna be a push myself.
Yep. And then it also has to be replaced after a certain amount of time as
Yeah,
well, right?
it has anywhere, that, they say it's around a 12-year life cycle, and you can go a little bit longer if you're really good on the maintenance. So I've had really, St. Anselm College, I gotta thank them, I can't thank them enough. I mean, they spent hours with me and the athletic director and others in terms of what to anticipate. And they shared with us that if you do your routine maintenance, you get a lot of life out of it. So it's important to keep up on it, but.
What is it, turf?
Yeah, it's an artificial surface,
Just
material.
for budgeting purposes, I wanted to mention that's not gonna be a hit to the budget.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Frank, sorry.
Danielle, the 500,000 for the Grassmere Town elevator, how was that estimate come up with initially? Was that sent out for quotes, or was that just a?
Yep, there was an architectural drawing in the past that included construction estimates. When the board at the time saw the cost, they determined rather than trying to put it into like a single year budget, they were going to propose deposits be made over a series of years. They did a 3-phase essentially for the last bit of it, and then that they're hoping would account for any inflation in the cost as time went on through the savings period. So now that they've completed that plan to set aside the money, they're now looking to, or proposing from the department to draw down the funds to actually build that project out. It would include an elevator, ADA accessible bathroom, as well as some small utility spaces for the elevator components and a little storage closet. So it's essentially a small addition off the back of the building.
So the estimate wasn't done by companies proposing an estimate, it was done by the engineers that were putting it together.
Correct, yeah.
And that started how many years ago?
I'd have to check the date exactly. I believe it's at least 5.
Okay.
So I know they have received some updates along the way.
The
They've checked
original
back
quote
in.
was like 300,000, so
okay.
the appropriation right now is over 500,000, so we'll see, I guess, what they say now, but.
Right. Well, like the library and other things, the cost of building materials, metal, wood has gone up a lot
Drastically.
in the last several years. And I was just wondering about the origin of it. If there was an actual company that came in and said, we will do this for X amount, or if it was a, like you said, an architect or an engineer that said, we're estimating about this.
Yeah, it was the engineering firm that pulled the number together originally.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The town would still need to go out to bid for that project and get quotes, as is normal.
Stacy?
Just one more question, Lauren. I noticed you brought up the Barnard Pool and it pushed out to 2024. Is that what you said?
It's coming down as proposed on the matrix for 2024. It's been on CIP matrix, I think Rick had said, for at least 4 or 5 years, as it is past life. Remember, we saw
And
the
that's why I'm
tours.
surprised, because he seemed emergent when we met with him, and now it's pushed out another year. So I'm wondering why we're pushing it up, why he's pushing it out another year. We didn't
And
think it was
it
going to
didn't
last.
get pushed out. We didn't vote to push it out, and he didn't move it. It was just kind of on 24. He said, I really think we need to have something done. They do have architectural drawings of like, here's what it would do, or here's what it would look like, and here's the pretty close quote that we got. I think he had placed it at 24, and as he said during our tours, it was like, every year we just got to start it up, and it started up this summer. And all being cognizant also of the lot, to try to balance, that was the point of the CIP, is it would be a big ask to say, could we have
Library
4
and
million?
pool.
I mean, we're talking about $10 million bond
Yeah.
for 2 public recreation. I mean, they're different departments, but I think it was, the feedback that came from the CIP was, that we noted, was to ask for that kind of bond on that project. I think we need a little more public input and a little more information as to the planning on how is this all gonna fit together with Roy Park. So I think there was a little more work to be done, but maybe he'll move it up, maybe they'll move it out to 25. I mean, the departments did a really good job of justifying where it would go, but it wasn't emergent yet, but it was definitely high needs, it's past life.
Great. I hope the public heard that. Thank you.
Yes. And that was a great,
Yeah.
it's also a great impersonation of Director Wilhelm. I remember that very vividly from the tour. Evelyn, you have a
I have
question?
a question for Danielle. Danielle, do you have any estimates as to if the library bond were to be approved, how long of a bond would that be? And what would be the estimated payment? I know
Yeah.
it depends on the interest rate.
Right, it does depend on interest rates. Interest rates are not determined until the bond sale, so no matter what bond goes forward on any ballot, we would be putting the proposal out on the ballot with the wording that it's subject to the interest rate to be set. So the bond sale, they occur twice a year typically. As far as quotes, we have received quotes from the Municipal Bond Bank that's provided us, ballpark estimates based on their projection for interest rates and whatnot. The library's asked for quotes at 2 different terms, one being like a 20-year. The bond bank does everything from 5-year to a 30-year in increments of 5 typically. And at this point, that's still to be determined. The library trustees have not yet settled on which version they'd like to ask. They're continuing to review that in their working meetings, and more information will be coming out about that as we get into the budget presentations this fall.
Okay, thank you.
If I may. Thank you. We had asked that question on CIP as well, and Derek had given us just a very, the rough quote of, on a $6.5 million bond if they plan, and I believe they are planning to bond the entire thing, and then any donations they receive in would be paid to the town to offset the yearly bond payment. He had said about 20 to 25 cents on the tax rate, depending on what they ask, depending on the terms that they get. But at current last month, that's what he had looked up for us.
Yeah, we had given that estimate based on the information we had at the time. The thing to keep in mind is the town is going through a reevaluation year. Additionally, when we were looking at those proposals, we had estimated a 0.5% increase on our valuation for this year, and it's actually ended up being a little bit more than that. So those tax rate numbers are really, really rough, and they do fluctuate quite a bit. So we really, at this point, we recommend just waiting maybe one more month so we can get some more stable numbers when we get into discussions.
Great.
So disregard what I said. That's safer. That's a safer. That's safer.
We have a rough estimate. It'll change. Okay. Great. Do we have any more questions for Lauren? Anything CIP related? We're moving on. So I think that kind of is a good segue into, talking a little bit about, the town tours. Want to get just general thoughts, what everyone think of the experience, the great staff that we have that's in charge of all these facilities. The things that we heard a lot. We definitely saw the pool and that hope and pray, and yeah, it was definitely a little scary, and definitely has outlived its life for sure. But in terms of the police station, fire, the town hall, we saw a lot of buildings, so I'll solicit any feedback. What you guys thought of just the tours in general, any specific facilities? Fred, you had your hand up first.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I knew the police station was tight for room. I drove it home how tight they are. They've got some storage they could probably put into use meanwhile, but we got to do something down there. The other thing, it drove home how tough shape the pool is in. The rest of it, I've been all through it before. No surprises anywhere else, in my view.
Thank you. Kelly, you have a comment?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who went. I know the department head shared with me, and I'm sure they'll share with all of you when they come through, how much they appreciate being able to show you all the issues that they have in their workspaces, the things that are going to come up on the budgets this year or the next couple years. So it's, important to keep going to those things. I've been in those buildings a million times, but I still go to hear what they have to say. So if you missed something specific, that we're talking about, like, please feel free to reach out to them. They'd be more than happy to show you or give you more information about something specific. Like if you missed the pool and you want to know more about that, Rick would be more than happy. So just please keep up with them if you want to know more about the ins and outs of everything.
Great, thank you, Kelly. Stacy?
Yeah, someone who started the budget committee during a COVID year, not having the town tours, it was really great to be able to see the town tours and put a lot of stuff into perspective. So I was really appreciative to be able to have that opportunity and really see some of the things like the police department, how tight they are. I had like a million questions after we left, like DPW, and seeing that pool and how terrible it was, like, and knowing the price tag that comes with these things and what we would have to do to make that happen. But I think having that opportunity is so priceless, and I really wish the public could see some of these buildings and take the opportunity to see them, because I think it is putting that stuff into perspective and seeing what really does need to happen in this town. But I'm really thankful for the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of great questions that was fielded. I think a lot of information was shared, especially about, you know, all the great things that our, you know, town does and services we have available that, you know, someone who's lived here for, you know, 13 years, I'm just finding out about for the first time. Right? So I think that there's a wealth of information. I completely agree with you. Evelyn.
I just have a question for Danielle again.
Okay.
In your budget for this year, actually, you have something in CIP for facility repairs at Town Hall.
Yeah.
It's $60,000 that's been budgeted.
Okay.
What's that for, and when might that happen?
Okay. 1 second, let me get
Are
to
you
the
looking
right
at
page.
CIP?
Yeah.
Evelyn? Oh.
Mhm.
Pages are sticking together. So the capital projects, I was just double checking the CIP matrix.
On page 20.
Thank you. All right. The big one I had in mind was information technology, which is under the same heading but separate. The 60,000, let me double check my notes and I'll get you an answer before the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And also at the end of this meeting, we are going to do that budget orientation with Scott and Danielle too, so maybe that good real-world example to look at. All right, anything else on town tours before we wrap up to the next subject? All right, great, thank you guys. All right, next up we got to talk about, because we did the town tours, we have not done the school tour scheduling, so Scott, you and I have talked a little bit about some of the, you know, obviously challenges around getting the schedule lined up earlier in the year. Now that kids are back to school, things are in full swing, it should be a little bit easier.
Yeah, so I spoke with the principals over the summer. The general consensus that they would prefer to do it during like weeknights. So whatever schedule works for you, you know, we can certainly accommodate that between the combination of myself, Randy Loring, who's our facilities director, and any of the school administrators. I will say that the high school is by far the largest building that we have, and since a lot of the meetings are here, it might make sense, let's just say, to schedule a tour, you know, maybe an hour before the meeting, or have it as part of the meeting. The others, I've done these in the past with some of you. It's a multi-day event, just like you did the town. So I think you can probably do like a Bartlett and a Glen Lake, or, you know, I would probably do a small school in Mountain View, and then Maple, and, you know, maybe Glen Lake or something on 2 other days, and then this would be the, you know, the third one. But whatever nights you want to do that, we'll have folks available for you. I will say that, in my opinion, a lot of our work is really on the outside of our buildings. And you saw that in some of the CIP. I mean, we have if you've driven on any of the pavement at Mountain View or it's even here, you know, so we've got a lot of pavement projects, a lot of things you can't physically see, like a roof. The inside parts, you know, are, you know, easily to see, but, so if possible, if we do this, to do it during the day, whatever daylight will be left would be good, so we can at least point some of the things out to you.
Yeah, obviously, we're losing daylight by the day.
Yeah, I know. It's-
Yeah, all right, so weeknights work, so we're looking at probably about 3 different nights and potentially piggybacking the high school tour
Yeah.
with a scheduled meeting.
You got it.
Okay.
Because we're losing daylight in a hurry, how about we start the tours at 6 at the latest?
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Is that a problem for anyone? A little bit earlier start for tours? I don't think that'll be a problem. All right, we can look to schedule that.
I just, well, I said at the latest.
Yeah.
Mhm, absolutely. All right, in terms of days that work for everyone, you know, our Tuesdays seem to be okay. You want to try to, you know, squeeze these in a relatively short period of time, or 2 days during one particular week? Would that be troublesome for anybody? Say if you do like a Tuesday and a Thursday, or
Pick a date and I'll react.
Actually, Tuesdays are not good for me going forward.
Tuesdays are no good
So
for you.
I don't know if anybody else has a change in the schedule.
I can tell you that Jared had shared that with me, that Tuesdays are very bad for him.
Yeah.
He's teaching a class, so.
Right. And then there's also some other, we'll talk about that as well.
Wednesday and Thursday,
Meeting
pretty much
schedules.
anytime.
Yeah, for meeting schedules, I know, Scott, you are not going to be quite available on
There
Tuesdays.
was 1 week that I'm not, you know, that was the week of the 12th, that
Okay.
I'm not available, but for these tours, for the most part, like I said, Randy and the principals would usually lead them anyway, so.
Okay. All right, good. All right, so Scott, you and I will work together on
Yeah.
kind of picking those dates. If I look at the calendar right now.
We're looking at September dates?
Yeah, I'd say it'll be after Labor Day for sure. Maybe that following week. You said the 13th was no good for you.
13th is the election, is the
Yes, you
primary
don't-
Oh, is that the election day?
Yeah.
Jeez.
14th?
All right. Yeah, we could do, say, the 14th and 15th, kind of piggyback those. It's a Wednesday and Thursday.
Please not
Yep.
the day after election day.
No.
You don't
Please,
wanna
no.
do it then?
No.
No, because we may
I
be
will
here
be
really
working like
late.
16 hours that day.
Oh, jeez.
If it's possible, if not, I also don't need to.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
15th?
About the 15th and the 22nd, successive Thursdays.
I will be unavailable from the
Are we-
17th.
Are we just discussing potential school tours, or have we segued on to moving the days? Because we're
These are just for the
quickly
school
going towards
tours,
Thursday.
yeah.
I just want
So
to,
school tours.
thank you.
Yep.
You're not gonna get the whole committee at every
Yeah.
No, we're
session.
not
so
for a
set
school tour.
15th
dates
and the 22nd
we'll
worked
go.
would work for whatever you want to do, we'll do.
Don't stop any tours, but I've gone from Calgary from the 14th.
Could we do like a doodle poll maybe
Yeah,
for the next like 6 or 7 days that work?
sure. So, let's see, yeah, that's a good idea, Kelly, thank you. So we'll do a quick little poll, just quick show of hands. You know, who can be available on the 14th, which is Wednesday, September 14th. We got everyone here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not too bad. For the 15th. 1, 2, 3,
What's the
4, 5, 6.
Thursday.
I'm just gonna say no to all of them.
It's okay, Kelly. I'm sure you've been to them. 16th is a Friday. I don't think that'll work. Let's see. The 20th is the budget. Looking at the following week to kind of wrap these up. The 20th is the budget workshop. Do we have anyone in here who's definitely going to the budget workshop this year on Tuesday the 20th?
I haven't filled it out yet, but I do intend to
All
go.
right. Who plans to go to the budget
Plan.
workshop? Okay. You too. Okay. Then for the 21st, which is a Wednesday, who could make that one for potential tour?
Should on my calendar. It's a library board.
And September 21st, yeah, 21st, and September 22nd. 22nd, Thursday. All right, so Scott put these dates out, 14th, 15th, the 21st, and the 22nd. And I'll let you kind of handle the logistics of what's going to work
I
best
think we
for the
only need
different.
3 of them.
Yeah, but
Or
in
2 of them, I
case
should say
we'll-
2 of them probably, but,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, and just in case there's other things coming up.
I'll get with you, so we'll plan on, 2 of those nights, and then, I don't know when your next budget committee meeting is.
Mhm.
Whenever that is, then we can just schedule that work
Yeah.
prior to the meeting.
I think that's up next on the agenda, Scott.
It is,
Okay.
what a great segue.
Wow.
Wow.
He's a plant person. All right, so yeah, in terms of kind of when our budget committee meetings are going to happen, I know there seems to be obviously Tuesdays. Sometimes they work for people. I know there were some other rumblings that there might be some overlapping boards and things going on, so I just wanted to get a general sense of, should we continue with Tuesday going forward, or, at least based on, hands to, or Wednesday or Thursdays, kind of generally work better. So this is just a kind of open forum on general availability and picking the budget committee date for our meetings.
Do you want me
It's
to
really-
say what I have to say?
Yes, you can, absolutely.
Okay.
It's really not a good day for me,
Which day? Thursdays?
Tuesday.
Tuesdays aren't good for you.
So I know it had mentioned Wednesdays, which I serve on other town committees that are on Wednesdays, and I think there's 2 that I can think of that meet on Wednesdays that include department heads, which would limit their ability to come to these meetings. So I'd prefer we not change anything, because my whole select board schedule is built on that. So I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Other department heads wouldn't be able to come to budget committee meetings during budget season because of that.
Because they're on Wednesdays. Obviously, budget, department heads, availability obviously is an important factor. Okay.
But you could do Thursdays?
Yeah.
Thursdays, okay.
Schedule we've always had.
Lauren?
Thank you. I'm just putting it out there that I think, speaking personally, Tuesdays work, and I know there's a lot of other school boards are first Monday, right, I think?
First and third.
First and third, thank you. Second and fourth Mondays for select board, all right, that's what it is, thank you.
And then weekly during budget season.
Yeah. I just feel like if we want to be flexible and meet, as many people's demands as we can, but if this was the sort of schedule that we had signed on to, I'm in favor of just keeping it this way. It also seems to fit in with other departments.
Yep.
If that was kind of what we were elected or volunteered from our original board to serve on.
Okay, Danielle?
On Thursdays, as far as the town side goes, the second and fourth Thursday of every month is planning board. I know during budget season, the budget committee has historically done Tuesdays with additional Thursdays sprinkled in around those planning board meetings potentially. But that's just what I know has fit in the past.
Okay.
There is no good day.
No. Stacy?
I mean, well, there was. Tuesdays have worked really well, and I did also move my schedule around when I was elected to fit this, so it would require me to now move my schedule to find another day. So, I mean, I would prefer we keep it, but if it's a vote that we need to move it, I would prefer then Thursday be the second option, but I prefer Tuesdays.
Yeah. Okay, good. Evelyn?
I have to chime in on keeping it on Tuesdays. I have conflict on Thursdays.
Okay.
With so many, if I may, with so many other town committees and boards that meet throughout the year and not always year-round, I would suggest that this committee keep it as its traditional Tuesday schedule and just, we were all appointed, volunteered, or elected. This is what we knew what the job was, so I would suggest we keep, because as somebody who tends to be on different committees at different times that come and go ad hoc committees, there are a lot of conflicts that come up
Sure.
with all these meetings, so If there's something that's been established, I would suggest that we don't mess with it.
Frank?
Tuesdays are horrible for me. They have been when we set this schedule. Everybody's got conflicts, whether it's town business, family business, work business, everything. Personally, there's one day in the week that's really, really tough for me. I think Jared too, and that's just my preference because of my schedule. So I'd prefer it. Wednesdays or Thursdays are great. But if I had a vote towards which I would prefer to change it.
Lauren?
Thank you. So if we moved it to a different day during the week, what would the suggestion be for the budget season when we're meeting twice?
For budget season, it's still going to be Tuesdays.
It'd still be
Thursdays.
Tuesdays, but we're
Yes.
just, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I mean, there's no getting around. We're going to have to do 2 days a week during budget season for sure.
I can't hear you.
I said,
Speak up, because there's no mic.
Could have been nicer, Fred.
we'll get Fred a direct feed. I said,
We'd still have to
during
have-
budget season, we're still going to have to do Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That's why we're gonna sit you next to Scott every time.
Mr. Chair, did we vote on a start time for meetings?
On a start time?
That's true. The start time would help.
I don't think we did vote on a start time.
I just would prefer being much earlier than 7, but I know other people might have a hard time getting here.
But can we have it,
I
can we
second
settle
that.
on a day and then do a time? I don't understand why there's a discussion, but if something has to change, let's
I thought we just settled, no? So question the day?
day or time.
No, I don't think the day is a question anymore.
Okay.
No, after gathering everyone's kind of feedback here, Tuesdays will work, and during budget season, they'll be here Tuesdays and Thursdays, as we've traditionally been. Now, in terms of a start time during budget season, yeah, starting at 7, there's been many nights that I know of that we're there till 10, sometimes later, much later. So in terms of a start time, if we want to bring that as a motion and discussion about starting earlier, I think during budget season, when there's a surmountable amount of work to be, to get through, I think I'm amenable to that. I think we could probably start a little bit earlier for sure, given the amount of line by line and
I know the
discussions.
staff would appreciate that also because they stick around and hang
Yes.
out for the day, so if it's possible.
Mhm.
I know sometimes people have long commutes or whatnot, so I just wanted to throw it out there. If anyone has a hard, can't get here earlier than that, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, we've been getting together for 6 o'clock tours, so I think potentially starting an hour earlier at 6, I don't think would be too difficult. If it is difficult, you can obviously voice your concerns now, or if you have a problem, please let me know.
The
Stacy?
only issue that I would have is if in the winter, I work in Nashua coming up through the snow, but I mean, I don't think that would be a huge issue. I think 6 o'clock I could make, I would prefer 6 o'clock, so I could be in bed at a decent time, but.
We're not promising bedtime at a decent
I'm not
hour.
even playing here, I'm an early sleeper.
I hear you there. I don't know, we'll get on Fred to make sure the plows are working extra
Yeah.
hard for you.
I think, and especially appreciative, I think the school principals, I felt bad for them having to come and present at 7 o'clock and having been at school all day, so I think they would appreciate having an earlier time for us as well.
Yeah, the town
And
department
department
heads.
Yeah, that's true.
That's definitely a long day, for sure. All right, thanks for that discussion. Moving on to the next kind of item I heard here was the budget presentation format. In the past, it's been kind of individual, the department heads present to the budget committee as well as the select board and so forth. And I believe last year there were some joint sessions. So just want to gather some
joint.
feedback if that's the,
All joint.
if you want to go that way, or what the format would be. Stacy, you have a question?
Yeah, well, the only thing I want to say is the only thing I didn't like was going to the select board and having to balance stuff while seeing the presentations, talking about the presentations and things like that. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about here, but the presentation format and hearing the select board and stuff, I'd rather be in a place where we can sit and take notes and things like that. if I'm making sense.
And ask like your direct, do you feel like you weren't able to like get that direct questions answered
Well, if
as
we had to
well,
like,
or?
if we had a question, we had to gather all of our stuff up, walk up to the podium, and then come back and sit down. I'd rather have a situation where I
Or
could
at town hall.
take notes and,
Yeah.
and be at a table like this where we could ask questions. It was just really an uncomfortable kind of situation to ask questions and take notes and things like that. I don't know if we could do the select board like in a larger format to be able to ask questions. Is that like?
I think,
Yeah, like here.
Yeah,
yeah, I prefer the individual presentations.
yeah.
I vocalized that last year.
All right. Now, Fred, and Richard, and I'll see, Ellen, you guys have been on the budget committee for many years as well and have gone through both. So from your perspective, doing individual or joint sessions, what is your feedback?
From school board, we just had this discussion last night. The school board is receiving the presentations from our administration, and we have the dates through October. I don't know if they've been sent over to the chair yet.
No, not
And we would like to invite the entire budget committee to join us at those nights, hear the presentations, be able to have discussions or ask questions on those evenings, to do it together, so it's not doing 2 nights, one to the school board and then another night to budget committee, but do it all at one time. So.
Thank you, but from your experience as a budget committee representative,
I think there's a great deal to be said for doing it together, because all the information is shared right from the people who have the information with the school board, okay? I would think there's a great deal of advantage to that. And then, of course, budget committee deliberates afterwards anyway. So I would think that doing it together would be a benefit to both.
Can I ask Ellen a follow-up?
yes, you may. Then we're going to go to Fred.
Ellen, do you know what the format would be? Because I know, I missed last year's because I was gone, but I know that when we had talked about making it joint, that the budget committee being at the select board would do that, like having to come up and state your name for the minutes and things like that. Wouldn't that have to be the same at the school board meeting, or would it be like formatted in a different way?
The school board receives the information or the budget suggestion from administrators, and they present it. And then the school
Yeah.
board
Can I
and then budget
clarify
committee can
that?
ask questions,
I just mean.
get answers.
Yeah, so they would be able to come up and ask questions, or in a larger format, it would be like one group receiving at
But
the
the thing
same
is,
time?
because there's obviously a quorum, right, it's a school board meeting.
It's a school board meeting.
So
and-
the
and
regular
in the past,
procedures,
I
we
know
would
it's
still
also
have to do the
been a
same
budget
thing.
committee meeting, scheduled it for that night as well, to receive, it's actually meetings. Am I
Can I
right,
just
Scott? They're
ask
they're
a
meetings as well.
clarifying question? But would it be, Ellen, would the school board be sitting at these tables and we would be over in the audience again? That's
See,
my question.
I would say no to that, because we've done these combined ones on the school side for like 3 years, and initially we had to do them over Zoom, if you remember. And, but what I would have changed last year was that I didn't like our setup, because we had the school board members, and then we had 6 budget committee members sitting at the table, and then everybody else was kind of.
Right, it was awful.
I would set it up differently, and I would not necessarily, either we would have to have a bigger horseshoe, or we would just go classroom style, but I would do it differently, so everybody has a good, nice surface to work off of, kind of to what your point was. But I will tell you that for myself, but for me, I'm one thing, but for the administrators and for department heads, 2 more nights, it's just 2 more nights out. Many of them are already working at 6:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So 2 more less nights out is a great thing. Plus, they know that they come back to you during deliberations anyway. So you're going to have more questions. This is more or less a generic presentation about how the budgets were kind of put together. And then when you get to like super nitty-gritty questions, they're coming back anyway, or they're going to be on a speakerphone, or Jared or Ellen or myself is going to have to explain like a nitty-gritty type question. So I know they very much appreciate that, and they have shared that they like the fact that they only have to come out once.
Fred?
So,
I appreciate the joint meetings. Yes, it's convenient for staff, but that's not the reason. I'd rather make things more difficult for staff.
thank you, Fred.
But I think we benefit, the school or select board, and the budget committee together, we benefit from each other's questions. And so we may have, a school board question might engender one from me, or vice versa. So I think it makes for a robust meeting, but I do not like being treated as a second-class citizen in the budget committee. We're equals to the school board or to the select board, and so we ought to have equal seating.
Good point. All right,
I agree.
thank you, Fred. Lauren, you had a comment?
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say, I also want to be cognizant of the department heads and the administrators' time. I think if we do a joint, we're going to have to be aware that those meetings are probably going to be really long, even longer, because there's going to be
More
double the
questions.
questions. So, I mean, if we do a joint session and we're all together in one big old horseshoe, that might be a really late night compared to breaking it up into shorter stints for administrators. But I like that you brought up the point of we're going to see them again. When we start doing line by line, that's when we'll be able to ask all the really in-depth questions of, about this. So, yeah, so it probably would be more time
Conscious.
respectful of their time to do it as joint, even if we feel that we might be a little rushed. We're not losing our time to ask the questions that need to be asked.
Right, and if you remember the format, it's the overview presentation,
Right.
here's how the budget's constructed, here are the main points, and then we get into the nitty-gritty. So
Yeah.
if we just take that front part joint, like you said, it might be a little bit more conducive to people's time. Yes, Danielle?
Just a kind of comment and question. So just from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the joint meeting could be a possibility, but definitely in a space large enough to seat everybody. I know when we had it at Town Hall, the meeting room downstairs just simply isn't big enough to get that many chairs up front. But if, say, the select board were agreeable to using this space and it's available on the meeting nights, and now we don't have to necessarily do the same 6-foot distancing that we did last year, we could hopefully fit more people logistically. One item that I know comes up when there's joint meetings is there's 2 chairs. We have to keep the minutes. We can do one set of minutes combined, but just between the 2 chair people, we have to determine how are they going to call, because I think the name tags will be very helpful, because I think, the governing bodies like the school and the town may not know everybody's name just by facial recognition.
Right.
So I think that would be something just to make sure that the meeting can flow well, because if there's multiple people raising their hand and there's 2 people trying to run the meeting at the same time, it would just be a matter of getting the logistics down, and I
Yep.
think that could just be an easy discussion between, the chairman for the budget committee and the chairman for the governing bodies. And then as far as the rest of it goes, I think question-wise, am I hearing that it might be agreeable? Because we would just have to bring it back to the school board and department heads. I know the department heads were favorable, but we would have to check with the select board.
Yeah, I think from the general consensus, seems that it's definitely agreeable, but I think the logistics question that you brought up around being able to have our,
Yes.
almost like our committee autonomy, if you will, being actually a part of the meeting, seems like it's, I think, important to be able to
Okay.
ask questions and so forth, but yeah, I think we should work on the logistical side of kind of having that joint meeting, what it means.
Right. Also, there's different meeting schedules, so I know that would be important as well to find
Yeah.
something kind of midway
Mhm.
for both space and availability of all the parties. But I think that, it really is a great opportunity, because the departments come forward, and during the initial presentation, it's essentially the same thing. So it gets everybody the same information at the same time, and then asking questions, I think that's a great point. Sometimes it's longer, but sometimes it's not, because a question the budget committee would have asked maybe the board member was also asking, or vice versa. So
Yep.
I think doing a tandem for that initial presentation, and then after the governing bodies have gone through and made their, changes, it comes back to the budget committee for those one-on-one reviews, and that's when you see the final budget. So I think that could be a really great format to try if you're up for it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in the point of view of the other boards too, because they're, like, the school board is in the thick of it. They're gonna have more of that background information, where we're really just getting the numbers and, the presentation material. Same thing on the town side as well. They're gonna have a little bit more backstory, so their questions, I think, should obviously add a lot of clarifying details that we may have, as well as, spark additional thought. Okay. All right, so we can look at doing this from a joint meeting perspective. And then Danielle, you can reach out to me, and we'll talk about
Yes.
logistics and how that'll work and scheduling and so forth.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, that being the case, and Ellen, let me bring up my.
Yeah, I have it
The school
down
board
here.
has set October 3rd, which is a Monday, and October 5th, just so you know.
I have 3 more dates down, but that's not what we're talking about. for this.
That's for you.
Okay.
It's not for,
Okay.
yeah.
That's for workshop.
That's for workshop dates.
Okay.
yeah.
I thought that was a presentation. These two are, those are, okay.
2-day initial presentation.
Those are initial presentations.
I'm sorry, you said October 3rd and 5th was
Yes.
potential,
At 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
So much for Tuesday.
here.
here at the high school. And that will be the joint presentations with the department heads of the schools?
That would be joint presentations with the
Administrator.
Administrators.
And both the school board and the budget committee. And what we typically do, Mr. Chair, is like the first night, it might be the overall
Yep.
district budget, and then we might do like 1 or 2 small schools.
Yep.
And then on the second day, we typically will do like, let's just
Middle
say
school.
Glen Lake, the middle school and the high school. So that's kind of how we've done it in the past.
Okay. All right, great. All right, looking forward to it. I'm ready to jump right in.
So, just so we're clear, that's what they're
Yes,
looking
right.
at now, or that's what is set right now?
That's what's
That's
set.
what we have tentatively said to the
Tentatively?
school board, yeah, was those,
And that's what
were those
it'll be.
dates. And Frank, what happens is they've got like 3 to 4 other days to like go deep dive into it, beyond that, because we try to get this to you guys by like November 1,
Right.
so we're, and I can't speak for, what happened beyond the last 3 or 4 years, but for the last 3 or 4 years, we have had a little bit of a head start in terms of the town.
Yep.
And we've been able to get the budget to you guys by like, say, November, so you can start that process. Then the town has kind of piggybacked off of that, so that we weren't like going into like Christmas time. So we
Yeah.
were pretty much done like that first week of December. That's how it's been, so it's, Jeff you're correct in saying that it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, a lot of work, but the budget committee, based upon the last 3 or 4 years I've been doing it, they've been very good about not going up to
Yeah.
Christmas time.
Yeah. The first year I think I did on the budget committee, we went into like the 2nd or 3rd week in December. and it was-
Yeah.
But recently, it's been first week,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, that's definitely the goal, I would say. All right, so looking at that calendar, you said October 3rd and 5th, which is a Monday and a Wednesday.
So much for Tuesday.
We talked about Tuesdays.
You and
They're-
Frank.
Those
So
meetings are
Second,
here.
Those meetings are here. All right. At 6
Amazing
p.m.
what a
Yeah.
fiver will do before the meeting.
All right, so joint presentations tentatively right now scheduled
They're all
for
bid meetings.
October 3rd and 5th, Monday and Wednesday.
6
Hopefully that won't be a problem at 6 p.m., yes. Hopefully that will not be an issue. If it is an issue, or if schedules change, once that's
Yeah.
more solidified and not full tentative, Scott will reach out and we'll let everybody know that becomes an issue. All right. Appreciate it. Now since we're talking about the budget presentation format, and we have days scheduled tentatively with the school, Kelly, do you have anything from the town side? Is there any kind of inklings of what that schedule is looking like, or not yet?
No, it's not finalized. Danielle would have more insight than I do, but we have to wait for CIP to finish.
Right. There's a lot
Typically
more.
when that's completed, then we start.
Yeah, so CIP is going before the planning board on September 8th, as we mentioned.
Yep.
The department heads are working on getting their budgets reviewed and built out. We do have a couple of groups that have to kind of happen before that too. So the Parks and Recreation and also the library both do their budgets first, and then that falls in line as the town's developing their budgets, because they have to be first approved by those groups before they can move forward. Then, of course, there's information that comes in later in the fall that, as far as rates and things like that, that really can alter our budget. So
Right.
that starts to come in throughout September. So in October, like Scott had indicated, that's usually when we're looking at bringing it forward to the governing body and doing those initial presentations. And then the governing body will have the same type of workshopping where they'll be meeting regularly to try and get through any changes before a final version of the budget comes back to the budget committee. So same rough timeline, we just haven't locked in the dates yet.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, when obviously those two, you'll communicate that. I just want to see what information we have to get everyone to right now. All right, excellent. All right, that was the kind of last item from some of the new business here. We're also, after this meeting concludes, Scott and Danielle are going to host the kind of budget orientation. So feel free to stick around if you haven't kind of sat on the budget committee before. Questions about the whole budgeting process. And Scott, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what's going to be covered in there in the book orientation.
Covered is less than 15 minutes.
It's pretty quick, but we do go into some,
I will not be
detail.
going into anything.
You
detailed.
won't tonight? I've never seen that.
I said I'm a time.
I don't believe that.
Got something.
15
You
minutes.
want to put a fiver on this?
I definitely have $5 on Scott, cannot stop it.
Ooh, this is a good bet, I think. This is
I don't want to do it just for fun.
Did you steal all my notes?
All right, so it's relatively short.
We're ready
I'm
to
going to
go.
put the timer on.
We have the teacher timer ready to go.
Yeah.
You can-
We got the countdown.
You can feel free. Richard consulted me on this. He said, Scott, keep it short, buddy.
Short and sweet. Let's go.
Excellent. Kind of upcoming meetings, like I said, I think we're going to focus on these tours. We're going to solidify those. And then once we have those dates kind of lined up and solidified, we'll sprinkle in another budget committee meeting prior to that will coincide with the high school tour if possible. All right. Anyone else have any business to bring up? Any discussion points, comments? Great. Excellent. So I'll take any motions for.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
No.
Was that a question?
Or was that a motion?
Or was it a motion?
The motion's been made and seconded already.
All right, motion has been made and seconded for adjournment. Who made the
Mr. Chair, can I
initial
comment?
motion? I'm going to take a comment.
Sorry. Just, depending on how many people remain, that's perfectly fine. It's open to everybody. It's not specifically just for new members. But just wanted to make the note that if a majority stays, we would have to keep the minutes running. We cannot adjourn the meeting. Because it's a quorum of the body that's getting the information. Additionally, the information was disseminated to the whole group tonight, and therefore it now becomes part of the public record.
Oh.
Just wanted to clarify.
Who's staying?
So show of hands, maybe,
Yeah.
who's staying?
Yeah, I think it's probably good to hear. Show of hands who'd like to stay for the budget committee orientation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Quorum?
Is 5 a quorum?
Yeah. You've got 12 here tonight. So,
So 5 does not make a quorum.
So it's a quorum 7.
Quorum would be majority. Yeah.
Bill raised his hand late, though. Did you get him?
Wait, all right, show of hands again, just put them up high. Just make sure.
Enzo, are you staying?
Who's staying?
Richard, are you joining? All right.
I'm gonna go home.
You're going home? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we have 5.
Is that
Glenn's not saying, that is not
No
quorum.
quorum, so we can adjourn.
So the motion's on the floor in a second, Paul.
Yes? Does this need to wait?
It's a comment, it's related. If it's in the agenda, do we have to remove it? Because it's in the agenda before adjournment, or no?
Why are we
I
adjourning?
think it was just the explanation of what's going to be talked about.
Yes.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. All right, all those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. This concludes the Goffstown Budget Committee meeting. Thank you very much.